if everybody wants to stand up. Wow, we're like lopsided today. Everybody's went, thank you, Ryan, yes. Move to this side.
It's my fault.
It is your fault. You changed us all up, you know? All right, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. God, we pray for those that are sick and are dealing with infections and colds, that you go into the household and you clear that away. Bring healing onto the bodies. Those that might be hurting in soul, in their hearts, Jesus, we thank you for that. God, we thank you that tonight we get to come before you and we praise you. We take our eyes and our mind and our thoughts off of everything from this week, from anything that could be trying to take our attention away. And we take this moment, we turn our heart toward you. Come in, Jesus, and let us praise you. We lift your name up tonight, Jesus.
There's nothing worth more that could ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence, Lord. I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, where my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. In your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. There's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. In your presence, Lord. And I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, where my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. In your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome. experience the glory of your goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. And Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness, Lord. And Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord.
the depths of your love, I find peace, makes me whole. I love your presence. sing I love you, Jesus. I love, I love you, Jesus. I love your presence. So if you want it, come and get it. For crying out loud. The love that He has given you is never written down. Let go of your heart, let go of your head, feel it now. Let go of your heart, let go of your head, feel it now. You want it, come and get it, for crying out loud.
my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, you're my delight, my God, my joy, 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 my delight. Oh, you're my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, you're my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, you're my delight. So catch me up in your story, all my life for your glory. Catch me up in your story, all my life for your glory. Catch me up in your story, all my life for your glory. Catch me up in your story, all my life, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, God, you're my delight. Oh, you're my delight. All my joy and all my hope is found in you, God. I rejoice in the Lord always. I love to be with you. I love to be near you. Oh, we love your presence, Lord. Oh, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy, my delight, my God, my joy. no place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love. Come set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain and I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain and I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more. 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 Would you pour it out? I want more. 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 Would you pour it out? So set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain and I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain and I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. There's no place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. We're right here in your love, surrounded by you, surrounded by your presence, surrounded by your love. Your presence is all I need. It's all I want and all I seek. And without it, there is no meaning. Your presence presence is the air I breathe, the song I sing, and the love I need. And without it, I am not living. Oh, we need your presence. Your presence is all I need. It's all I want and all I seek. And without it, I am not living. Your presence is the air I breathe, the song I sing, and the love I need. And without it, I am not living. And I will exalt you, Lord. I will exalt you, Lord. There is no one like you, God. And I will exalt you, Lord. I will exalt you, Lord. Lord, the name be lifted high. Your presence is all I need. It's all I want and all I seek. And without it, there is no meaning. Your presence is the air I breathe, the song I sing, and the love I need. And without it, I am not living. Oh, I will exalt you, Lord. I will exalt you, Lord. There is no one like you, God. And I will exalt you, Lord. I will exalt you, Lord. No other name be lifted high. We exalt you, Jesus. We exalt you, Jesus. And there will be no one like you, and no one beside you. You alone are worthy. presence is all I need. It's all I want and all I seek, and without it, there is no meaning. Your presence is the air I breathe, the song I sing, the love I need, and without it, there is no meaning. And I long to look on the face of the one that I love, long to stay in your presence. It's where I belong, long to look on the face of the one that I love, long to stay in your presence. It's where I belong, long
as we endeavor to actually look upon your face. Father, I ask that you would give us the grace to actually see you, and to see you with our eyes, to hear you with our ears, to actually believe you with our heart. And Lord, that our hearts would believe in you, so that our heart would actually override our mind and not talk us out of it. That when you actually do reveal your glory, that it goes straight to the heart and surpasses the head. We love you and we honor you in this house, God. All right, guys, you can be seated. We'll hit those lights. Thank you. Crushed it. All right. We good? Everybody's good? Great. Awesome. Well, it's good to be back. We missed out on the prayer room last week because we made a trip down to our second home, Fort Benning. Got to hang out with Pete for a weekend. Jenny got Mother's Day with one kid instead of the rest of them. She left some of her kids so that she could go be with another kid. So I guess that's a choice you make when you get older. But we had a good time. Hopefully everybody made it out to the prayer room and had a good night out there. But we're going to continue tonight with a little bit of the same subject that we've been talking about. We've been hopefully learning that each one of us are in the process, or each one of us are on the journey of being changed, right? And, you know, we're being changed more than just from a sinner to a saint, but from whatever you were to a life like his, right? That's the goal. We know that we were saved in a moment of salvation, and we know that we are being saved, and we know that we will be saved, right? And that sometimes people get confused by that. And in the kingdom, there's a lot of already not yets, right? Things have happened, yet they're happening, yet they will happen. And all of this is part of being sanctified, like past tense, but also being sanctified present tense. Does that make sense? But this is all part of our confirmation, right? Not confirmation, conformation, the forming, right? And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit about tonight. You know, we often, those two words, if you're not careful, you can think that confirmation and conformation are the same, but they're not. Confirmation would be straight out of Romans 8:29, right? And we love that verse. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed, right? And I don't think you can overstate that verse. I think we often understate that verse. Like it's like, oh yeah, I'm being conformed, and then you move on, and you don't exactly understand what he means when he said, no, I predestined to conform you, right? That's a statement that you can probably study for decades and never get to the bottom of it. And a lot of that has to do with how stubborn you are, to be honest. If you're like me, it can be a long process. But, and I don't think that we understand when he says, no, I've predetermined that I'm going to conform you into my son's image, I don't think we know how deep that statement is, right? If you're really setting your heart on him, if you're really trying to follow him, and if you've really been kind of consumed by him, he's going to drag you into deep, deep waters, right? And that's not to scare you, but that's to say that he's going to bring up things that you didn't know were there. He's going to take you into places and thoughts and patterns that you didn't know were inside of you, and all of this is your conforming, right? It's the undoing of what you were, and it's the doing of what he saw when he designed you. And that's what we're going to talk about. I don't think we've been talking about it. It's not that we're going to. We've been kind of talking about this, and I just don't think that many people lean into that fact of their life. And when you don't understand that there's going to be a conforming, you're left asking questions a lot of times. And those questions, if you're not careful, will cause you to want to detach, and you don't understand, and you're confused. And so you can put distance between you and the things that are, you think they're issues, but they're really the things he's using to conform you, right? And we talked about this word, but that word in Romans is samorphos in the Greek. And we don't talk about the Greek words because it sounds cool. The thing that I like about kind of bringing to light the Greek words is they'll take two words that when you break down the two words, it helps you understand it in a different light, right? Especially in our English language, we don't really do that. But this word samorphos, the thing that's so important about it is it's not just a conforming as in, and something forms you. It has this thing that they call a particle of union, meaning when you get samorphosed, you are working in union with the one who's forming you, right? And if you don't understand that, it's kind of like the left side of your brain wants to seek the Lord, but the right side of your brain's trying to figure out why things are happening in your life that you don't understand. And you don't know that they go together, right? The union is bringing the morphing. And we try to have two conversations. I love you, Lord. Why is this happening to me, right? And he's like, it's me. And you're like, you're over here. The problems are over there. And he's like, no, I'm both. He's not causing the problem. He's using the problem to get to, well, yeah, he does cause problems sometimes. Half the time it's him, half the time it's me, right? He's like, you caused this problem. I'm just using it to my benefit. But it's most. The morphos is the shaping. But the soon, it's soon morphos, and the prefix is soon, which is a process or a resemblance, a completeness. But it has to do with being in union with another. That's why it's so important. Because I don't think we understand that morphing is an ongoing process your entire life. I don't think that there's going to be someone who goes through that process for 5 or 6 years and then he leaves them alone for the next 50 years of their life. I think there's constantly a working out of parts of how you think, of parts of how you move, or maybe how you learned, all kinds of stuff. But he will continually do that, and that's why I like to say that repentance is a realm you live in and not something you do one time. It's a constant changing of the way you think. It's as he brings up different items, or as you learn things with him, you go, oh, I realize I've thought the wrong way for the last 40 years. And it's a process to get that out of me. But now that I see the light, I can move forward, right? And I just want to see that, like, I believe that we were, like, at your moment of salvation, he's like, perfect. But then he's like, but we're going to work on that perfect, right? He's going to take you on this journey of abiding, this journey of walking with him. And like we said, sanctified yet being sanctified, right? Perfect yet being perfected. Does that make sense? And a lot of times when, I think I've said this recently, but a lot of times when we talk about being perfected or being sanctified, sometimes depending on how you're wired, your mind will go straight to and only to like the sin nature, right? Or doing all these bad things and stuff like that. Yes, that's part of it. And for some people, that's more of it than maybe for others. But it's also, like when you think about the word sin and what the word sin actually means, it's more of just being, it's more of working out of you what doesn't belong in you, if that makes sense. You can miss the mark, which is the way a lot of people define sin, which I think is a decent way to define it. But you can have sin in your life and it not necessarily be one of the top 10 do's and don'ts, right? It's just you're thinking wrongly about something, therefore you're missing the mark. And so when I say that, I hope we can break out of the always, there's no way to live a sinless life, right? Like, I don't want to stir up anybody's religion or anything, but we know that it says all have sinned and fallen short, right? So it's clear. Everyone sinned. So blanket statement, cut and dried, we're clear. But it also says that he's given you all things that pertain to life and godliness. So how are you going to start this process, start walking with him, recognize that you have all things that pertain to life and godliness, yet tell yourself that you're just always going to be sinning and you're always going to be messing up? Does that make sense? I want us to kind of break out of that, and I don't want to say stop giving yourself an excuse, but for some people, I think it's a failure to apply themselves. And I'm not talking about you're going to put your head down and not sin today. That's not me in any way, shape, or form. You can't strive your way to a sinless, that's not going to work. But because we're immature, we'll kind of just accept that and then move forward, and then this is now our reality because this is how we think, right? Therefore, you need to repent. You need to change the way you think about that. Like, okay, hold on. If he's given me all things that pertain to life and godliness, then clearly he's equipped me with everything I need to step into the attempt to move forward and not always miss the mark. Does that make sense? And when we talk about like walking in perfection, you got to be super careful because somebody's going to hear it the wrong way and then you're going to have an argument on your hands. But part of it is the belief that I get up and I'm not worried about making mistakes. I'm just worried about walking with him. Does that make sense? And I think one of the things that I want to break off is this, well, that's not attainable. Because it's easier to say that's not attainable and then just not attempt it in any way, shape, or form than it is to hold yourself accountable and then deal with the consequences of your actions, right? And I love 1 Corinthians 10 because it says, no temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. Listen, God is faithful and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide a way of escape that you may be able to endure it. So he's essentially saying, I'm going to give you a way out every time that you're tempted to do something wrong. But we don't see it like that. We just accept that we'll always do something wrong and there's no way out, right? And I think that what we're doing when we do that is we're essentially saying, well, I'll never really be mature, perfect, teleos. And then we just sabotage our progress, right? We set a new baseline that's just called sinner saved by grace and wait to die, right? And I know, like I said, this is all part of the maturation. But again, that's why it was so important for us to hear what Paul said in Philippians 3, where he's like, look, I'm not saying I'm already perfect. I'm just moving on, forgetting what I've done in the past and laying hold of the future, right? I think that's why, Paul had this ability. The reason why he said that is so that you would pursue it, right? He was trying to egg you on and go, hey, look, here's the way I look at it. You should do the same, right? And when it comes to this belief in what we think is possible, I recently in the news, there was a guy who set a record running a marathon, and For a long time, they thought it was impossible. Literally, doctors said no human being will ever break the 5-minute record on a mile. You just physically are not designed to run that fast for that long. Until a guy did it in 1954, and now thousands of people have ran that fast, right? Well, just the other day, a guy ran a marathon, 26.2 miles, in 1 hour and 59 minutes, which means he averaged 4 minutes and 33 seconds for 26 miles straight. Now, there was a time when that was impossible. One guy said, I don't really think it's impossible. Once one guy did it, another guy said, well, if he did it, I can do it. And then he did it, and then 1,000 more, to the point now where we have guys running 26 miles straight faster than you will ever run, right? If my life depended on it, just kill me now. There's no way I'm getting down in the fours, right? But I say all that to say, and that's clearly not an analogy, because you can strive towards that. You can't strive towards a sin-free life. But what I'm saying is it started with the belief of, hey, I think you could actually do this. And if you are going to tell yourself there's no way to ever live the way he says you can live, then you're clearly not going to. But if you go, man, he says that I have everything when it comes to life and godliness, I have to try and figure that out, right? So that's a little off track, but let's get back on track. Okay, maturity. That's part of maturity. Sometimes I think in these types of teachings, if you have that mindset that it will never happen, then there's really no point in trying to mature and move on, because you've chosen where you're going to stay. And I just wanted to kind of highlight that. But we talked a little bit last week about what you actually believe, right? And hopefully you heard enough in that you would ask yourself the questions about the fruit that you're bearing and whether it lines up with what you say you actually believe. And that's getting you to be honest with yourself is part of the conforming. If you're allowing him to conform you, and like we said with Peter in the story that we read last week, Peter trusted enough to have him get out of the boat and start walking on the water, but he failed to trust him enough to sustain him, right? And this story was part of Jesus conforming Peter, right? We tried to highlight that last week, but Peter would go on through the process of that conforming and eventually be the first one to preach under the power of the Holy Spirit, and he's walking around in his shadows healing people, right? And I think everyone here has pretty much grasped the concept that he's forming us and that he's molding and shaping us. And that, we've covered that us who say we abide in him and who say we want to walk with him, that he's going to use those circumstances in our lives to mold us and to create the somorphos, right, to form us. And if I asked and said, hey, do you guys believe you're being formed, you would say, yes, right, okay, good. So the next question would be then, to what end do you want to be conformed? It's a difficult question. Like, how far will you allow him to conform you? I think that the people who have an understanding that they are a sinner saved by grace and they put their faith in him and they get saved, and let's say they don't progress like we would talk about, I think those people are actually saved. I think those people have put their faith in him, and though their life may not bear the fruit that some can, they have created a relationship, they've accepted him, and they're good, right? But there's a higher revelation that will take them deeper, right? And so how deep will you let the Lord take you? Because that's what I want to highlight tonight. There's a level of maturity that he's predetermined for you, but you're the one that sets the bar on how deep you want to go. Like, how perfect do you want to be on this earth? Like, I think perfect only has one definition, but how mature do you want to be on this earth, right? That gives a little more movement. And hopefully your answer is as mature as possible, right? My goal is that I exhaust every avenue that he has for me, right? I want to, of course you want to hear, well done, thy good and faithful servant, but I think that would require you, at least in some measure, to try to get the most out of whatever it is that he has for you, right? And I definitely can look at my life and realize that hasn't always been the case, right? There's times your foot are on the gas, and there's times where you're kind of coasting. Sometimes you're in reverse, right? We're going the wrong way here. But I want you to know that you control the level to which you're conformed. And I believe that's a fact. And if you're not careful, you can get lackadaisical and kind of level off. You know, kind of, like I said, let off the gas and coast for a few years. He has committed himself to conforming you. He predestined you for it, he said. Predetermined. But we have to cooperate. And, you know, lately we've been using this word circumstance a lot, but circumstances are the number one tool that he uses to conform you. So it's important that we exhaust it. And that circumstance can be a good circumstance. It can be a bad circumstance. And sometimes, like I said, we fail to see in the process that these things are being used to change us. And honestly, we fail to trust him through that process, which creates even more issues, right? And we think about Peter again. Peter stepped out of the boat. Peter walked on water. And like we said, he ultimately, even though he was already walking on water, failed to believe that the Lord was going to sustain him. Therefore, he started sinking. Even after he had walked on water, he already had proof. The steps behind him proved to him that the Lord was going to maintain him. Yet, as the wind and the waves became more visible to him, he starts to sink. And there was another time in Peter's life where Jesus came to him and said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan demanded to have you, that he might sift you like wheat, but I have prayed for you, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned again, strengthen your brothers. So he tells him prior to it happening, like, you're going to get tested here. And it's interesting because he says, I have prayed for you that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned, strengthen your brothers. And that's interesting because we think he failed when he denied him. But the real failure would have been not to turn back, because Jesus already knew he was going to deny him. He told him ahead of time, look, you're going to deny me. But don't worry, I prayed that you wouldn't fail. Well, you just said I was going to deny you. The failure would have been failure to come back. Does that make sense? Not learning from the test and not recognizing his failure and then coming back to the Lord would have been the ultimate failure. But he succeeded simply because he didn't quit. He didn't give up, right? If anybody had a reason to put their head down and walk away, it would have been Peter in that moment. Like, he called you out and warned you ahead of time, and 3 separate times you failed, right? I mean, there's an aspect where you can look at Judas and his failure, and it drives him to hang himself. But Peter's failure drove him to come back and meet him on the shore, right? And you can see the outcome of the 2 choices. And I love it because Jesus didn't stop the sifting. The sifting was going to be used to conform him. He didn't say, hey, I called up Satan and told him I would give him to you. It was Satan's idea to sift him. But he said, okay, you can have him. I'm going to use this to mold him and shape him, right? And it's an important concept to understand. Sometimes it's a little hard to swallow, you know? but he had faith that Peter was going to turn around, right? Peter allowed the brokenness to conform him instead of harden him. And sometimes that's a difficult task. If you'll allow your brokenness to form you, you can't lose. Matter of fact, if you allow your brokenness to form you, sooner or later the enemy is going to be sick of you being broken because you always advance. It's going to say, leave that one alone for a while. We have to pay a price every time we try and break him, right? Because instead of it hardening his heart, he opens his heart, and the Lord conforms him even more into his image, right? And that's what I want us to see. I want us to see that, you know, it wasn't the pressure of the moment that changed Peter. It was the surrender of Peter in the moment. Like, fail 3 times, I'm still going to surrender. I'm coming back, right? You've probably heard a preacher highlight the fact that Peter's on a boat. Again, Jesus is on the shore post-resurrection. And although he's denied him, when they say, hey, look, it's the Lord, he jumps out of the boat and swims to him, right? Where you would think after failing him 3 times, after being told you're going to fail him 3 times, he would kind of move to the back of the boat and be like, I don't know if he wants to talk to me. But not Peter. He's like, man, I'm going. He's the first one there. You know, I want to be like that. I want to be like, if I do screw up, I want to just run to him and go, hey, I screwed up, right? Because I know that you're so good, you're just going to use it to not only make me better, but mold me and conform me more into your image, right? Just like he did Peter. Peter was changed so much that in John 21, Jesus said, truly, truly, I say to you, when you were young, you used to dress yourself and walk wherever you wanted. But when you're old, you will stretch out your hands, and another will dress you and carry you where you do not want to go. After saying this, he said to him, follow me. He's saying, Peter, when you were young, you ruled your life. You did what you wanted to do. But now that you're on this journey with me, you're going to be so much like me that they'll take you and put you on a cross just like they did me. Follow me. And it's interesting because that word, it's really hard to say. It's akolutheo. It means to be in the same way, but it has that same particle of union we were talking about. Just like the samorphos is a particle of union, this word has the exact same particle of union. Like, hey, follow me, but this isn't just you walking behind me. This is, we are unified as you follow me, right? Like, I'm going to that cross with you again, right? And, you know, history would tell us that Peter was crucified just like Jesus was, but on his way to that cross, he said, hey, hang me upside down because I'm not even worthy to hang like he hung, right? And I think that he goes from a man who would deny him to one who literally follows him to a cross. And that's probably the ultimate transition of a man's heart, right? From not even willing to admit that you know him to a young girl to walking towards the cross saying, no, don't hang me like you hung him, hang me upside down, right? In the Old Testament, there's another man that we see an example of that was formed by the circumstance of his life, and that was Joseph. Joseph was formed and shaped as a man long before his day of destiny, right? He had a dream given to him. He had a prophecy given to him that he was going to be in leadership, that people were going to bow down to him, right? But the path to that day was something he probably never could have imagined. Innocent, betrayed, imprisoned, falsely accused, right? Yet somehow, he never loses his composure, right? Those things were used to mold him, and we never even see a glimpse of him getting sideways. Matter of fact, the day comes where the very ones who sold him into it are in front of him, and he does probably the most Christ-like thing in the Old Testament. He says, well, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. Like, who does that? You know, unbelievable. It's just interesting because to think that you could look at the evil that people do to you and think, no, that was used to conform me. How can I be mad at you? That's wild. I mean, we know that through the wisdom of God, Joseph in that moment is saving the world from famine, literally. But he chose to stay close to the Lord. He chose to trust God even when he was in a pit, even when he was in prison, even when he just kept trusting him. Just kept seeing the conforming, and pretty soon he steps into the second most powerful man in the world, right? What you meant for evil, God meant for good, because the reality is he never makes it to second in power if he doesn't get sold. I'm sure God could have got him there some other way, but that's the way God chose to get him there, and he understood that. So I want you to see that when you suffer, you have a choice. You can become harder or you can become holier, right? And it's really difficult to get yourself in the midst of it to ask yourself that question. Like, what am I going to do here? Am I going to buckle down? Am I going to get hard? Am I going to get mad? Or am I going to allow this to conform me into his image? Because if I remember right, when he was on the cross, he was saying, hey, Father, don't hold this against them. They don't even know what they're doing. That's wild to me. He didn't allow his suffering to deform him. He allowed it to conform him. Not to take away what he was, but to build him even more into who he was supposed to be, right? A lot of times that's exactly what happens to us. Something comes against us and we immediately allow it to start deforming us. Instead of going, no, I'm just going to allow this to mold me and shape me into whatever it is I'm supposed to be. And that takes patience. And that's like a cuss word in the Christian world, right? Nobody wants patience. Right? Nobody's like, man, I just really am thankful for all my patience. I'd rather just not need it. Right. All the moms said yes. But it's like, why are these stories in there if they're not to prepare you for what is coming for you? If you wrote the Bible, you wouldn't tell Joseph's story. Nobody's like, man, the Lord is good. Send him straight to a pit. You know, you read Psalms 105, and David's acting like it's a good idea. Before the famine came, the Lord sent a man, Joseph. And you're like, no, he got sold into slavery. That's not a good story, Lord. Keep that one out. No one's going to want to follow you. And he's like, no, they're going to need to know this because it's going to happen to them too. You wouldn't put Job in there. That's a terrible idea. Somebody will end up named after him. But we remember the trial and normally fail to see the triumph. You know what I mean? All these stories, and you're like, yeah, but that guy's not that guy unless he goes through that. You know? We love Romans 8:29, right? I mean, everyone, yes, image of God. Image of God. But we don't really go back to like a few verses before and catch something. Verse 14 says, for all who are led by the Spirit are sons of God. We love that one. Sons of God. For you did not receive a spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received the spirit of adoptions as son, by whom we cry, Abba, Father. Again, we're all good with that one. We just talked about the Abba thing not too long ago. The Spirit himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. And if children of God, then heirs. That's awesome news, right? We're claiming that inheritance. Here it comes. Heirs with God and fellow heirs with Christ, provided that we suffer with him. I normally just skip right over that sucker. What are you talking about, provided? I thought he suffered, so I don't got to. Well, I mean, he kind of did. There's some truth in that. Provided that we suffer with him in order that we may also be glorified. I'm not telling you that so that you'll turn into one of those people who think like suffering is holy, you know what I mean, and run around like, I don't know, I'm just not into that either. But I do know that Jesus said, I have these things, I've said these things to you, that in me you may have peace, that in the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So he's not trying to skirt around it either. Like, you're going to have trials, you're going to have tribulation, but I'm going to use all of that for your good. And I dare say that there's nothing that you'll face that he won't use to make you more like him. And that's the golden question in every circumstance of your life, is how are you using this to make me more like you? But you have to be willing to continue and not quit. You have to be willing to stay in the pocket, so to speak, so the play can develop, even if it means maybe you take a hit. You can't relax and just take your foot off the gas and think you're going to coast through and still end up, with the lap time that you need. And this is why I say that you choose the level of conformity that you step into, because it's up to you. And you have to ask yourself, what's possible? Is a sub 5 minute possible? Sub 5 minute mile? Does he mean it when he say that you can be a teleos man? Does he mean it when he says, be holy as your Father is holy? Or is he just setting a bar that you'll never reach? And I think sometimes people think that their somorphos, their conforming is just going to be like an impartation. Like he's going to come lay hands and be like, oh, perfect, like me. That's just not very scriptural. Because it didn't happen for any of those guys, right? They had to walk it out. And it's up to us to partner with them. Again, we love Romans 8:29, but 8:28's right before it. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for the good. He wouldn't say that if it was always good stuff that was working for you, right? The context is like, there's some bad stuff, but don't worry, it's for your good. Then you get to verse 29, which says, for, like, since he's using all the bad stuff to basically use for your good, for those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed. Like, he's making it pretty clear. There will be bad stuff, but don't worry, I'm going to use it for your good because I'm trying to conform you to my image. And hopefully in your life right now, this is not applicable because you're just skipping down the road of success. But someday, you might need this. But I think that no matter how long you've walked with God, there's going to be opportunities to become more like him. And I don't think you ever graduate out of it. And I love the instances we're talking about, because when Joseph's brothers are in front of him, he doesn't need to see a level of repentance or sorrow in their heart in order to be who he needs to be. Does that make sense? Like, he's not like, well, when I see that they're really broken over what they've done to me, I'll let them off the hook. That's not what he does. He just goes, hey, stand up, man. Like, you guys meant it for evil, but God meant it for good, so who am I? He literally says, who am I? Right? And And that's something that is like the ultimate Christ-like motive, right? Of like, I don't need to see how broken you are. It was used for my good anyways, so I don't even care. I mean, he knows what God is doing in him regardless of their position. And this is how you can love your enemies. This is how you can forgive those who are maybe don't even ask for forgiveness. Because, oh, this situation is making me more like him. Not that I'm glad it happened, but since it happened, I might as well make it into good too, right? I might as well partner with God in it so that I can be more like him. And I think that if you can trust him enough to step into that type of position, you'll see how easy it is to be the Stephen who in the midst of being stoned says the exact same thing Jesus did. Hey, Father, forgive him. Right? Why? Because he sees Jesus stand up and watch. In the midst of him being stoned, he sees one, I don't remember it exactly, but basically Jesus stands up off his seat and watches it go down. Like, there's one like me. That's pretty cool. So you need to know that your predestination establishes your destination, right? Predetermined to be conformed. It's been predetermined what your destination is. And we talked about your destination is being conformed to his image, right? His goal for you is already set and settled. Conformed into my son's image. That's my goal for you. And he offers us more than forgiveness. He offers us likeness, right? I'm going to do more than just forgive you and bring you in. I'm going to make you like him. So not just a forgiven sinner, one like him, right? The question is, do you actually believe that? And if you say yes, then that's not just impartation, that's formation, right? Formation by his hand physically forming you, but formation by the circumstances of your life, conforming you into whatever image is that he is looking for. Whatever circumstances presented, whether good or bad, if it's the good, he's going to use that to make you more like him. You know, if Jesus could take 5 loaves and feed 5,000, he can take whatever little is that you have, and you could do massive things with it, right? That's the good. If someone comes against you and betrays you, then you can just forgive them and allow it to mold you into his image and keep rolling, right? And I want to, you know, some of this is a little repetitive and redundant, but I want to make sure that we're not avoiding the things that are going to make us like him. Because that's as foundational as you can get, right? If you have it in you to try to turn and run or escape the things that are going to make you like him, you won't end up like him. And that's not what any of you want, right? I know your hearts. I mean, if Jesus had to learn, if Paul said, I have learned, how much more do we have to learn, right? And the thing that we have to learn is just the yieldedness of it all. Like, in this moment, Lord, I yield to you. Like, instead of getting mad and getting that person back or giving them a piece of my mind, whatever it is, I'm going to yield to you. What am I supposed to do, right? I only do what I see my Father doing. I only say what I hear my Father saying. That's yieldedness. Paul would say, it's not I that live anymore, but Christ in. That's yieldedness, right? When you yield to his image, you're going to reveal the same humility. You're going to reveal the same strength. You're going to reveal the same obedience and trust and all the things that we love about him. And he is committed to that process of forming you into the image of his son. So the quicker you yield to it, the easier and the quicker you'll get there. We'll all get there, right? But it's up to us to yield. And many will desire the destination of the confirmation, right? They'll desire to be like him. Everybody wants, even people who don't believe Jesus is the Son of God are like, yeah, he was a really good dude, right? We should all try and be like Jesus, Joe Rogan. But few will yield enough to allow it to happen. This ain't I just wanna. This is like, I'm gonna yield to that. And that's the hard part. And normally the areas you have to yield are not the ones that you kind of are gifted in, or it's never the easy ones, right? I have to yield to public speaking. Many will want the promise of destination, but refuse to allow the process of transformation. And that's the hard part. So you need to know that the Father has predetermined your destination, but he will not override your heart to get there. Jesus said in Revelation 3:20, I stand at the door and knock, and if anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and eat with him and he with me. You have to open the door. He's not going to kick it in, right? He's not going to trespass. He's not going to force you into this. And I think the statement that I don't say every man, but a lot of men today need to hear is just this question of, is this circumstance going to make you harder or holier, right? Because there's a lot of really, of course, in today's, the era of demasculation, you swing the pendulum and think that we're just going to buckle down and be as masculine as possible, yet lose holiness, right? And that was never the goal. You were supposed to be a man, don't get me wrong, but a holy man, right? That's true strength. And we don't want to allow the circumstance or the very thing that's meant to change us in the right direction to make us worse. And sometimes that's exactly what happens. So tonight I just wanted you to really grasp that you have been predestinated, like it's planned out. You are going to end in his image. But you control that process based on how you want to yield to that process. And I'm not saying for 1 second that it's easy. I'm just here to encourage you that he wouldn't put you in it without giving you the grace to do it. He even said that. We just read it earlier. I'm going to make a way. Of course it's not easy. No good change comes easy, right? Sometimes it's difficult. So I just want to encourage you tonight to let go and actually trust him, right? It's always the trust fall. We've talked about that. But when you know that everything turns for good, no matter how ridiculous that sounds, then you have a promise that you can stand on, right? Questions? Anybody not believe me?
So when you said at salvation, he's already perfect, right? But then we got to walk out that being perfect, right?
Sure.
And everything like that.
Yeah.
Do you believe on this side of heaven that we can actually achieve that perfect that you discussed?
So the question is, just for the people online, if you are made perfect, which when you come to the moment of salvation and you put your faith and trust in him, then you are cleansed and purified and washed. Positionally, you're perfect, like perfect position in him, right? That doesn't always translate to an immediate perfect performance. You know what I'm saying? And the question is, do I believe that you can live a perfect life on the other side of it? Can you reach that? Yeah. So I'm going to say yes. I've never seen it done outside of Jesus, obviously. But if he says the things he says, then I have to believe that it's possible, right? I have to believe that if I have all things that pertain in life and godliness, I have to believe, all these scriptures that we quote all the time, and we know what they say, but it's super intense, so we try not to answer the questions because we can't point to how, right? So just like the doctor said, yeah, it's impossible to break a 5-minute mile, we're in that boat where we're like, man, all the people who we think are going to be the one, it ends up, turns out they got some skeletons or they're hiding some stuff. So I do believe what he says, right? I do believe that it's like, let us who are mature think in this way, right? But I also understand that even Paul said, look, I'm not saying I got it. I'm just saying I'm striving to move forward, forgetting the past in the hopes of attaining it, right? So I don't know what that means. I don't think Paul, too, was also setting a bar that's unattainable. So I'm going to, at this point in my life, say, yes, I think it's possible. I have not done that. I don't know anybody who has done that. Yeah. But that's what it says. You know what I mean? So right now, I have that too. I have that same question of like, man, do I really believe it? And faith is believing for something you have not seen yet. We have not seen that. I'm going to believe for it. I know that if I believe for it and stay close to him, I'm going to be closer than if I didn't believe it. Does that make sense? So that's a very wishy-washy answer, but yes. Who else? What do you got? Oh, sorry. What's your question? How do you know if it's from the Lord if you face something really bad, like something that's suicidal or something like that? Well, I think it's pretty safe to say that the Lord wouldn't want you to hurt yourself, right? He would never want you to hurt yourself. And if someone else is thinking about hurting themselves, it's pretty clear that he doesn't want them to hurt themselves, right? When it says that he's going to turn all things to good, meaning whatever you're facing, that means that even though someone might be thinking like that and then be in such a bad place that they want to hurt themselves, that if you'll trust him, he'll make that place that you're in somehow good, right? And that means that he's going to reveal himself in that. Like if you come to a place where you want to hurt yourself, that's pretty low, right? You don't feel very good. Well, if you'll let him, when you're down there on the bottom, he'll meet you there, right? He's glad to meet you wherever you are. And so even if someone else, some other voice, tried to talk you into doing that, he is willing to meet you there. Does that make sense? You understand that? Yeah, okay. Good question. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, same question, same spirit.
Well, the question I want to ask specifically about that is, like, for someone who likes to be super proactive, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to do it. But how do you control the level to which you're conformed without just striving the entire time?
That's the hardest part. Yeah, so the question is, how do you, say it slowly so I can repeat it for them. How do you right? How do you control the level to which you're conformed without striving? So that's probably one of the most difficult tasks as one who studies scripture and has it in their heart that they want to follow him, right? And we've seen religious spirits take over that kind of thinking like you wouldn't believe. That's, to me, what religion is, because religion says, okay, I'm going to take this circumstance and I'm going to use my own strength to be able to manifest whatever it is that God has for me, right? Like, religion is man getting to God under his own strength, whereas Jesus made it clear, you can't get to him without me, right? And sometimes when we, even out of the goodness of our heart, because we're diligent, we're focused, we're all these things, right? We're thinking, okay, I'm going to yield and I'm going to submit myself to him and I'm going to really accomplish this task of whatever you call it, being his, being mature, being perfect, all those things. Yet we have to understand that it's impossible without him, right? Like, we can't build a formula, we can't make a way to make ourselves conform to his image. He is conforming us. So the only way you can yield is by allowing him to do the work. Does that make sense? Like, this is probably the one time where we are reactive instead of proactive. Like, there's proactive things that you do because he gives you commands and he teaches you how to walk, right? But when it comes to the circumstances of your life, that's the context of what we were talking about. In the circumstances of your life, he's using those things to conform you, right? i.e. Peter and Joseph. Those things are reactionary because when the circumstance presents itself, I ask myself, okay, how am I supposed to respond to this, right? Like, Joseph is falsely accused. Okay, Lord, how am I supposed to respond to this? Because you know I didn't do that. I know I didn't do that, but I'm paying the penalty for this thing here, right? And for Joseph, it was, hey, keep your head down. I'm going to bless you. I'm taking you somewhere, right? That was the answer in that. He couldn't do things under his own strength because he didn't know he was going to be the second most powerful man in Egypt. He's trying to get out of Egypt and go home, right? But that's not the plan. And so that's what I think, that's how we get in trouble, is we don't know the future. So for us to try and be super diligent and strive towards what we're being conformed to, we don't even know where we're going. You're blindly trying to follow, you know what I'm saying? You'll get yourself in trouble because you've created an image of what you're supposed to be like instead of allowing him to just do the conforming. So that's a hard question. And I mean, honestly, I think the only answer is just guarding the purity of your heart, because that's where all the issues are going to come from, right? You know, that is one of the hardest things to learn to manage, is knowing you can't force it and you can't speed it up, right? So how do I just relax and trust him? Because that's the thing. We want to help him conform. I'll help you with this. I got it. That next thing after that's called repentance. Like, my bad. Yep, shouldn't have done that. So, yeah, stay engaged. Yeah, clearly engagement is everything, right? Clearly, this is why those words are so vital to understand, that they have the prefix of a particle of union, meaning like, hey, Samorphos can't be done by yourself. You have to be in union with him, right? If you're not in union with him, and to be unified is to be one, right? So if you ever catch yourself striving to do something and it feels like you're doing it apart from him, you probably are. Does that make sense? And so that would be the thing that you needed to repent of in that moment. Hey, I think I might be doing this on my own strength, right? And that's no fun, right? Got anything you want to add?
I would also say a lot of the church are just okay with, like, this is just who I am. I've heard that so much. Well, this is just who I am. My mom was like this, and I'm like this, and I've always been like this. Or I'm 70. So they just like retire from growing, or they never even engage to grow. And so I know our church, that's not who I'm speaking to, but we know a lot of family. We know a lot of the church. That's just what they think is, I mean, I've been told that multiple, well, this is just who I am. I'm not going to change. And I'm like, but we're supposed to be conforming to the image. And so a lot of the church doesn't know this language. They've been taught, get saved, and then you'll either get raptured or go to heaven, to die. So it's one or the other. And it's like, oh, no. We're supposed to be conformed to his image. And so, and then the announcements.
You got announcements? Oh. Yeah, no, that's essentially one of the reasons why I wanted to take the time to kind of go slow and hit that same perspective from a bunch of different angles, because unfortunately most churches, I wouldn't say most, there's a lot of churches, let's just say, that they don't really see that, or they don't really go after that, or they don't really believe that, you know what I mean? And all the things that we see in here that are the prophecies that have yet to happen, all of the, the kingdoms of this world becoming the kingdoms of our God and his Christ, those aren't going to happen unless there's a lot of people conformed to his image still alive. He's not going to conform you after you died and you're up there with him, right? We don't need you now, you just hang out, but I needed you to be in my image down there, right? That's the key, I think, anyways, and I think most of those things that we study in eschatology, and you get into some of the verses in Isaiah and some of the things that are really like, man, this sounds like it's on the earth prior to his coming back, are all dependent on us looking like him. So it's good stuff. Announcements. Okay, tomorrow there's a breakfast at Adam's house. If you need the address, you can see him and he'll give it to you. What'd I say? Oh.
I'll just do it. It's not for the whole church. Okay. There's a men's breakfast tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. at Adam's house for the men, for whoever. Make sure you let him know, because there will be breakfast there and coffee. You're going to be sharing your testimonies, so come prepared. There you go. Next week, no service here. We're going to the Clems for fellowship. We'll put that on Church Center. We'll be eating down there, and then there's a hot air balloon festival nearby, so the kids will like that. So, all right. Great job. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, guys. See you next week.